Welcome to the Big Biz Show.
Taking care of business.
You want fast-talking, hard-hitting discussions on business and finance? Maybe with a barroom slant and some really salty peanuts? We're not counting calories. We're counting cash. Before we get to the man with the financial plan, meet the money team. Costa, Mary, and Greg. Now Captain Finance himself, Sully.
From the Loft 100 studios here in sunny Southern California, wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, we officially welcome you to the Big Biz Show. Costa and Mary holding things down for the moment. Sully and the whole team will be here shortly. We're very excited because a guy that I met through Sully when I first started on the Big Biz Show, and I know that you have known him a lot longer, is Alon Goren, and he's one of those blockchain crypto Mensa types.
He's so smart.
Yeah, and I'm really excited. Well, and I'm really excited to have him in studio because he is somebody that I have learned so much from about something that is so mind-boggling and so just up here as far as grasping. Truly. Bitcoin and digital currency and stuff like that I'm really excited to talk to him. And it's one of those things where I am angry and I get really frustrated because I don't know more about it and I'm having a hard time grasping.
I am as well. Do you own any crypto?
I don't know. I need to ask.
I don't know. That is alarming.
No, I don't think that my wife and I do as far as our financial
portfolio.
Yeah, our portfolio and our financial advisor is concerned. Because again, to me, it's still such a foreign concept that it's not that I'm afraid to buy some. Like I go into some ATM or gas stations or a store that have they have Bitcoin ATMs. Yeah, where you can walk in.
Well, it's on Venmo now too. You can
do it.
Share. Yeah.
Can you? Okay.
Yeah, you can pay with crypto on Venmo.
Yeah. See, and to me, it's so. I want to get either Bitcoin or crypto for dummies. The yellow books that you can buy. That because I finally
don't think it would break it down enough for me to understand it.
No,
I mean I'm a hopeless coward.
Mary, it's so frustrating. It's like trying to shift into third.
How about
gear.
the DTT? How about you?
Yeah, are you the greatest?
You're in on it.
Business,
Brian's shaking his head. Yes.
Trio.
You got some?
Brian, Trace, and Brian, you got it.
A little bit. Yeah.
Do you understand it?
I do, pretty much.
Oh God, I feel so bad now.
We
I feel like such
Brian
an idiot.
down here, then.
I have a little bit.
Yeah.
Trace
really?
too?
Oh.
I had a little bit. I started early, but I didn't keep an eye on it.
Yeah.
It just kind of dwindled, and then I didn't get back.
See, could you guys start doing online seminars? Because I will tune in and I will watch and I will listen to what you will teach me about at crypto.
Well, and then there was the whole NFT.
Thank you. There's another layer.
There's another layer that was a
non-fungible token.
That's died down, I believe. Is that accurate to say? That was by the wayside, right?
Well, yeah, because you had people that were, and there's another thing. There's another NFT for Dummies book that I've got to buy because this is the way I understand it. And for all you watching, wherever you're watching or listening,
they've tuned out.
You're going to Costa. You're an idiot. It's like you're trying to buy a sports memorabilia that's digital. Mm-hmm. Like you buy a moment or you buy something like that.
Yeah.
Head explodes.
But I think that's why it's gone by the wayside because it was a fad. But crypto's not going anywhere. Bitcoin's not going. I mean, we were just talking to Howie last week about the Bitcoin Act of 2024 they want to do for the government.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah, that thing.
0.5% of
right.
The money that the U.S. has that holds should be in Bitcoin. I don't know. Is that going to happen?
It's getting. Oh, I'm sure it will. If the government can come up with any way to get their pound of flesh out of anything that's making money and they're not involved with it, they'll absolutely come up with something that they can do. All right, we've got a big biz show coming your way. A lot of great guests, including the aforementioned Alon Goren, to talk to us more about blockchain and Bitcoin. Thanks for being with us. Keep it right here. More of the Big Biz Show coming up next. Shift at Sea on the American Forces Network. Big Biz Show continues. Another beautiful day here inside the Loft 100 studios. Costa, Mary Burt Godwin, and of course the man behind the bar, Sully.
Well, so we were talking yesterday, guys. Big shout out to the Day Trader Trio.
Best in the business.
Hey now.
Hi, guys.
Come for the music, stay for Mike's Funyuns. What are you thinking? Have you done your Christmas shopping? Is there Christmas shopping in your world other than going to Bevmo?
Zero.
Really?
I am buying 0 Christmas gifts this year. My wife and I have an arrangement.
You had for some years, so she'll put
exactly.
She'll put the snoring and the geometry change.
And she'll spend Christmas Day with her favorite husband.
Yeah.
But no,
what would you do, by the way, if this slab of manhood was your and this is his
I mean, I'm a fan of the flannels, actually.
Thank
it's
you.
a good look.
Thank
I like it.
Yeah.
if you know what I mean.
If you know what I
Are we going
mean.
back to that? Oh, God.
I'm a fan of the flannel.
You know what I mean?
You fan her flannel. Boom.
I always have.
Can I ask you, so what about your 235-month-old?
Yeah, ship is sailed on that. Once you hit 18, 19, it's like no more big ticket items.
Dad ever.
Yeah.
You realize your wife spent like $400 or $500 on them.
I know she has, but I haven't spent anything. I'm not staying up late to put anything together. So it's just like
Because
Don't you miss those
because you
days?
fall asleep on the couch watching Jeopardy every night at 7.
I do miss those days.
I feel like I'm going to miss those days.
You better
I'm
go to
holding
bed.
on to
Yeah.
them.
That part.
I never drank that much, but when I was building a Barbie Jeep, I should have been in rehab after that night. I stayed up I was wasted in the morning. Hey, Merry Christmas, everyone.
1,000%.
I got done at 4:30. Because they had stickers. Because after you get done, then there's the stickers.
Oh, God, I don't miss
I
them.
got to put those white wall stickers on. I'm thinking, I might as well have another one. Because
Yeah.
it's 4:30 now. It's you know.
Pass it down.
Yeah. The topic is the market right now, and of course Howie Font, our lead analyst, is talking. It's interesting, Howie, how and I will say this, not being political, Mary, but since this new administration has been announced, there has been a Trump. But keep in mind, folks, the economy is not the stock market. 100% of us participate in the economy. About 45% of us participate in the stock market. But I got to tell you, as much of a have you seen my Trump sneakers? Everybody's still talking about him. I mean, as much as he's kind of a douche canoe,
Yeah.
and that's the technical term for the president of the United States, there's hope about the economy.
Yes.
Okay? So comment. Go ahead.
Well, I did just see this headline that says
Here comes the confirmation bias.
that he says, Trump says bringing down grocery prices is very hard after vowing to cut the costs. So,
Well, because they're so high.
Who knew?
well, right,
Who
but
knew
I
it was
mean,
such a-
he's vowing to do it, and now he's like, well, maybe I can.
He'll do it. No,
He's
he'll-
not in freaking office. Oh my God. Hey, what about?
You brought it up,
Can I
not me.
ask you this? Who is running the country right now? Who's the president?
That is a great
Should
question.
be Howie.
No,
Should be Howie.
Let me
It's
tell you our
actually
plan.
me.
Howie
I do
Font.
it from this desk.
Howie
It's-
Font
there's always
ran for
one.
city council when he was 22. I will say, we put a super PAC together now. He runs for president in 10 years when he's 40. We will rule the world.
Let's do it.
I'm gonna be the
I'm in.
George Soros. Mike's got $35. Let's light this candle. Howie,
$12 donations. Thank you.
talk about the market because it's interesting. We saw Trump up, we saw back up, and then all of a sudden, rough day earlier this week, and now we're kind of back in business. Talk about that.
Listen, I think we're doing pretty well. I know eventually there's going to have to be one day for investors to pause and take their breath, but it's been a tremendous run up for the market. In fact, it's so much so that in the last 2 years, the percentage of investors that think that a stock crash is coming has dropped to just 10%, and sentiment, fear and greed, the greed part is doubled from 2 years ago.
And there's a reason. You think, oh, who cares what people think? Because the market runs on emotion. I mean, it's important to look at the that's why we have a consumer sentiment metric. And what's interesting about that is that most of the institutions drive the stocks, but there is this notion of buy on the rumor, sell on the news.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, if it all started, by the way, with the Elliott Wave principle, 1971, where I forget the guy's first name, but he would notice that we're kind of fish. We're basically sheep. And if we're going this way, you kind of normally go this way, and all of a sudden, when you're at your peak of your success, you're at your most vulnerable. Now we can start getting scared immediately. And the stock market works the exact same way. And there's a couple of indicators, like the moving average, convergence, divergence, and the relative strength indicator, that kind of lets you predict stocks. But Howie, this is all based on emotion, correct?
Yeah, so I think I think there didn't need to be this dichotomy between pre and post election to the extent that there was. But a lot of investors just said, no, let me see how things are going to go before we make any decisions. And, you know, how much do
well, let's face it, under Joe Biden, the market's done fantastic under this administration, which, by the way, surprisingly, markets do better under Democratic administrations and economies do better under Republican. Now, I'm not sure if things are changed now, but in all fairness, is this just a continuation of what we've seen recently? Because we're in an overbought status. Let's face it, we're kind of top heavy.
No, I mean, this is event-related exuberance for sure. And I personally keep getting more and more nervous, but there's no indication that this has any reason to stop, especially if there's a tax cut coming or regulatory reform or something like that. I do have a stat for you that I think you'll enjoy. Only 8 times in a row since 1950 have we had two back-to-back 50-year S&P 500 20% gains.
Wait, hold on. So since 1950, there's only been 8 times that the S&P has gained 20% in a year?
Or more. In a year,
that's better than working.
So 20 on 20 happened 8 times. 6 of those times, the third year, still positive. 12, 13% return.
Okay, here's my question in the studio. Do you think, just because, you know, just Johnny Lunchbucket, Cindy CEO, sophisticated, handsome...
I'm going to blush.
Philanthropic, generous investor named James. How many of you think that this market will still continue? Just in your heart of hearts. Oh, don't you still use mine? That's unfair. Okay. Well, whatever Sully says. Because it's a large business program. Are you confident? Mary, are you confident? You're never confident. Yourself, you are. But are you confident?
I'm fearful. I'm fearful.
Imagine that.
For
so
sure.
Never confident. What about you? What about you, Dinty Moore? What about you, Brawny?
I'm confident. I don't think it's.
You'll do whatever your wife says you're going to do.
I think I'm confident it's going to be steady, but I don't think it's going to be any sort of meteoric rise or, conversely, a meteoric fall.
So, in your vast experience in this, what makes you say that?
Trump and the fact that people feel better about not only financially, but I think the security of the United States and what he's going to do. And well, you're already seeing other countries coming in and bending the knee, saying, "Oh, hey,
Mike, you ignorant slut."
Pretty much.
Question though, what did Elon say a couple months ago though about it might get a little worse before it gets better, alluding to the fact that it could there could be a dip and it could get.
Well, you got Doge coming up.
But wait. What you guys don't realize is this: when you buy a stock at $80, okay, and let's say it's not through your money manager. Let's say you're day trading something and you spend a couple $100 in a stock, and it goes to $100. Hang on. Most people are going to take a taste of that.
Totally.
There is investor fatigue, and there's people taking profits. And there's also, you know, the guy says, "Daddy needs a new pair of shoes."
Yep.
And goes in. I mean, it's for me. I believe, you know, most of what's in the market, Howie, is sort of baked in already. Don't you think? So what are we baking in next? Because there really is a transition of power. There's a lot of international stuff going. You got China up our shorts trying to scuttle a lot of stuff.
China.
What's that?
China.
Speaking of China, I do Trump watches.
Well, I think the best point you made was people selling off when there's a large gain.
Well, by the way, we got tax loss selling, right? Yeah. We also got tax loss selling coming up.
Yeah. I mean, given the market 2 years in a row, I don't know how many losses people are going to have. It's a good problem to have for your.
Well, me and Mike are counting a Santa Claus rally, but it has nothing to do with stock market. You know. Hey, we're not going to be at work tomorrow. We had a Santa Claus rally last night. Howie, thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Howie Font.
No problem.
Don't you feel like I feel like I'm in trouble when
we talk with him?
He's the best.
It's just that air of disdain for us because he sits in his ivory New York tower. He's very confident.
And I love it. He's very.
But you know, because a clip.
Look at him. Peasants.
It's lofty. The air. Rarefied.
You know, a clipboard and a wave will get you through any door. He's backstage at Taylor. Hi.
I love clipboard. I learned that young. Carry a clipboard and look official and just get your way.
I honestly think that we could be the new George Soros. We've raised a little bit of money now for the next 10 years, and he runs for president. We could rule the world. And by the way,
someone's doing it right now.
He will not remember our names. All right, coming up. up. Our good buddy Alon Goren, founding partner of Draper and Goren Blockchain.
In studio today. I'm so excited.
I just saw him in the lobby. He actually has a torso and legs. So awesome.
That's awkward. How creepy, Mike. Still don't know what his face looks like, do you? Because I was looking at his legs.
Oh, my Lord. His gams.
Mary's got to skip her step.
I did?
Venture capital guy, single.
Ooh.
He's got an 8-pack. Me and Mike have kegs. Big pitch show.
Kegs.
Big pitch show. Actually, Mike's the party ball. But it's one ball. Oh, sorry, we were talking on the break.
All right, from the Loft 100 Studios, Big Biz Show rolls on. Hope everyone's having a great day. Oh my God, I'm starving.
Is that on the screen or is that a chicken sandwich with mac and cheese and onion
I need
ring?
all of that.
It's called Heaven on Earth. Mary Beth Godwin and
Right after we have the most healthy person on the planet.
I know. Oh my God, look at those.
There's a thing called balance in life.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mary, you and I are 80-20. We mostly 80-20, like good, and 20% bad. Mike is more of a 199 thing.
Easily.
I have to ask you. So when you see those delicious pictures of chicken sandwiches, now you're the most disciplined person I know.
No, I'm not. That
premise just
I can't say anything I heard disagree. You're the most beautiful one. No,
I'm not. No, but I may put that out there, but I'm not. When it comes to this, if I were to see that, I'd be like, give me all the chicken.
So like all of us, you suffer from imposter syndrome?
Maybe a little.
God, I hope they don't find out I'm just a douchebag.
Who doesn't?
I do big time. Yeah. Like, you know, don't you? No, you're like, Mike lives for the neck up. Fred Flintstone. Mary, when do you decide that you're going to pull the trigger? Is this because you're no longer hungover anymore? Because I can only imagine the amount of I can only imagine the amount of Jack in the Box bags around your bed at night 10 years ago.
I do not. I did have that. Yes, Roberto's, carne asada burrito.
And the worst part is, you know that you've been overserved when you wake up with full bags of Jack in the Box, and you never actually ate it. You just ordered it, and it's on the floor.
A trail of guacamole from Roberto's.
That's our new song, by the way.
It is.
We sold it to the Eagles.
What happens with me is that I'm busy and I don't necessarily have the skill set to plan my meals out.
Yeah,
so I'll get to a point where I'm starving.
Just have a couple almonds, Mary.
I do carry cashews, I will say. I have little packets of cashews from Trader Joe's. But
I'd rather have cashews than that.
But then I see this.
But you can't eat 7 packets.
This looks so good.
It's Big Chicken has taken America, and they're also in the UK, by storm.
It's because they're a dental plan in the UK. So, can I say this? Can I tell you what my thing is? If I'm watching a movie or a TV show, and like Yellowstone now, do you know the product placement Yellowstone now is? Fritos.
Oh.
I have 17 bags of Fritos at the house now.
There you go.
No, I saw another. I was binging, and after I stopped binging, I started watching TV. I was watching some shows this week, and the guy went to a place in Washington D.C. called Chili Bowl, and he ordered the basket of fried chicken. I was on the phone with Crack Shack in 10 seconds. I swear, just the hint of this.
It shows you how.
So all of our 125 million TV homes right now are going to order from these guys here.
From Big Chicken.
Thank God we've got Josh Halpern. He's the CEO of Big Chicken, and they are, as you can see, I guess gourmet or
everyone's
essentially a
talking
torture
about
place.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, Josh, how are you, bud? Good to see you.
Good. How are you? I think I just heard my next sandwich name, the Trail of Guacamole.
It's yours, Josh.
Big Chicken. You'll leave a trail of guacamole walking out. Trail of guacamole.
Yeah, I don't know if I want to make that claim, but I do like the sandwich name.
Mike's interpretive dance group is called Avocado Skid.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Kid. Sorry.
We'll unpack that later.
Yeah, we will. Wow, he's a new host of the show.
I know.
I'm telling you.
It's like a major in a computer. How did you start this business? Were you always in the hospitality business and food and beverage?
No, I spent most of my career actually in consumer packaged goods. I worked for like Anheuser-Busch and Procter & Gamble and some other companies. But I got to know Shaquille O'Neal back in 2015, 2016. Worked on a restaurant in Las Vegas with him and his partners, and 5 years later, we kept in touch, and 5 years later, he said, "Hey, we've got 2 of these big chickens open. I think we're ready to grow. Would really love you to come on board, brother." And we've been together ever since.
How did it feel when he first put you in his pocket?
I mean, he actually puts me in a baby Bjorn and just kind of walks around. Right.
Josh, that's hot as hell. Did you approach him in terms of investing or in terms of endorsing? Because obviously, he's got a big footprint, and that's obviously you got great food and such. But that's one of the reasons, I suppose, that you guys started getting on the elevators at the top, right?
Neither. He's not an endorser. He is an investor, but he wanted to create this. He wanted to create a chicken concept. For him, chicken is very, very personal. He thinks about his Mama Lucille's chicken from when he was a kid, and he said he really wanted to create a brand to pay homage to his mom. And every time I'm with him and his mother, Mama Lucille comes up to me and says, "Thank you for running the family business." So it's really, really phenomenal.
Josh, there are so many instances of celebrities or athletes that get involved in the restaurant business, and it's their name, and there's all this hoopla, and then you go and you taste the food, and you're like, "Oh my God, that is the worst thing I've ever tasted." But
have you ever tasted anything you didn't like?
Well, me, but I'm special. But I mean, the reviews about Big Chicken across the board are, yeah, it's got the hoopla, it's got the name, but it's really, really good.
So you guys have to be scalable, meaning that you have to duplicate your food in your locations, which means because it's easy to make great food in one kitchen. It's not so easy when you've got 100 employees following, for lack of a better word, a recipe. How do you manage that?
Yeah, I mean, look, first, going back to what was said a minute ago, we knew when we started the chain, Shaquille is going to drive so much trial. People come in for the first time because of Shaquille, but they're not going to keep coming back because of Shaquille, right? No one says, I really don't like it, but I like the guy, so I'm just going to keep going back over and over again.
Right.
That's a great point. I didn't think that's a great point, because they'll come try it on endorsement, but you got to keep them there.
Correct. So we really needed to make sure that our food had all this flavor, that it was consistent, that it was food worthy of the Shaquille O'Neal name, but also food worthy and craveable enough where people would want to keep coming back. So that for us was really key. The way we got at that, when you have someone like Shaquille, you say, okay, I need to focus on the unsexy stuff first. And we really put a lot of focus on the supply chain. Me coming from 20 plus years working for suppliers, we said, all right, we need to make sure that we have a broadline distributor that makes sense nationally in Cisco. We need to make sure we're working with our chicken provider nationally, our breading provider nationally, and try to get as much of this stuff pre-done and automated into the restaurants so that we can maximize our probability of consistency.
Where is the closest one to us, as I need to know?
Because we're hungry and we're almost starving.
And what states are you in, and where is your footprint now?
Yeah, we are on both coasts. We're in the middle. In San Diego, which is where I think you guys are at.
Yes.
Yeah, we're on the naval base in San Diego.
You're where?
The naval base.
The naval base.
Mike's been detained there. So you got 350 locations, man. How does that feel? I mean, honestly.
No, we have 350 that have been sold, right?
But still, I mean, that's got to feel. You sit back and go, how did that happen? Because that is the definition of success in your business. Also maintaining a quality product, quality stores and franchisees. I mean, you're juggling kittens every day. It's amazing how you guys are doing this. So my question is going to be, what do you look forward to most in 2025?
Yeah, I mean, look, 2025, we currently have about 50 stores open. We're going to open another 30 to 35 next year, give or take. We are going more internationally next year. We're going to enter Canada in a big way, Central America, potentially the Middle East. But most importantly, it's just continuous improvement on the model that we've got and continuing to make sure Shaquille is proud of the brand. And you're going to see a lot more fun out of us next year, especially as it pertains to some cool advertising kind of stuff on
well, speaking of which, Mike could be your Mike, by the way, Middle East is not Detroit. It's the Middle
East. Oh, it's not? Okay. All right.
He'll drop into any of the locations.
Yeah, Josh, we need to get you and Shaq in studio and also explore making...
the Costa, which is a taco inside of a taco over a chicken sandwich.
I like the name
a jelly roll and the taco underneath, and that's the Costa.
I like the name of Biz Chicken. Hello.
Oh, Big Biz Chicken.
Writes itself.
Hey, Josh, you come back with us a little bit. We'd love to talk to you. Love to have you in the studio, man. Appreciate it so much. His name is Josh Halpern. Big Chicken.
Thanks.
Take a Big Chicken.
I'm telling you, it's spreading like wildfire.
How can it not?
Yeah. continue from the Loft 100 studios. Also in over 175 countries, all the ships at sea on the American Forces Network. Wherever you're watching, wherever you're listening, glad you're along for the ride. Costa, Marybird Godwin on this side of the bar, and of course right there, Sully.
One of our most seasoned guests on the set. Do you remember the word crowdfunding many years ago?
Yep.
Alon Goren was an expert in crowdfunding, and then of course got pivoted over to cryptocurrency, digital currency, and blockchain. And he's here in the studio. What's up, buddy?
Finally.
You've been with us like for 10 years.
I know.
So great to see you.
Yeah.
So there was a time you did events where you brought people together that were pitching deals and such in crowdfunding and also in blockchain. And we had an opportunity to do a couple shows in your.
Yeah.
It was so fun. Is that business still a viable business for meeting investors and deals?
I think it is, but for me and my business, I realized the more intimate stuff, was more valuable, right? The juice wasn't worth the squeeze at the convention center.
Well, it's super fun and stuff, but look, there's a lot of overhead in that thing, and you got guys with badges that are wandering through the hallways like, hey, where's the meet and greet? Have you been to a convention lately? Do you remember?
Yeah, I got.
We used to do big biz show to go.
Yeah.
Well, because let's face it, you go to a convention, it's like it feels like you're at a convention, and the next thing you know, you're overserved and you're on the mic on live radio.
Well, it seems like conventions nowadays are just, hey, how much can I drink and eat on my boss's dime?
But you also call that Mike Tuesday.
Pretty much.
So
that was always the case, though. I mean, you think back I was doing event planning in the 90s, and it was
some
like
trade shows have merit where you.
For sure.
Was your event planning basically a restaurant? It was a restaurant business. It was like booze and food?
No, we were a destination management company, and we handled big corporate groups.
Destination management. That's like a gardener being a landscape architect.
It's a real thing, a DMC.
How dare you?
Hey, Alon, so you and I have talked about this a million times. You've been one of our most frequent guests over the years. It's really interesting how we talk about digital currency. Like, oh my God, when's it going to happen? But I've had the same $40 in my wallet the whole time.
Yeah.
We live in a world of digital currency right now. We're not using. Is it the same? Can we? Because we got to on-ramp this thing sometime because you know it's going to happen, right?
Well, remember when we first talked about it? I remember calling in. We talked about it. You had the siren blaring in the background.
Yeah, right.
The cops are coming for you.
Yeah. Because there's no regulation. We're thinking, okay, let's just make something up.
But as Americans, we're like, isn't it digital already? Who goes to the bank anymore and all that? And it's actually one of the reasons why I didn't, and maybe you didn't, and a lot of our friends didn't buy Bitcoin earlier, because we're like, hey, for when bombs are being dropped on another country, we understand Bitcoin there, but we're Americans, we don't need to. And then it took us till 2016, 2017 to go, oh wait, this does actually apply to us too, and it's a good investment.
Because dollars are a fiat currency. It's a perception of how much the dollar is worth.
Yep.
Crypto is a perception of how much this is worth. I think what scared people in the first place was lack of regulation. But now, I feel like there's an insiders club that understands it. Like back in, a lot of people got in without actually having to be an expert. I sort of feel now, you kind of got to be in the inside club to really understand the ins and outs of it right now, because it's more of a sophisticated trading platform than it was before.
If you're trading and going in and out of all the different altcoins and stuff like that, you definitely need to be fully engaged.
So talk about legal tender as crypto. So if you invest crypto into a startup company, for example, Mike's Tequila Factory and Mayo Dippin' Sauce, and he needed $5 million for everything, ancillary items, FF&E, labor, and stuff like that, and you invest in crypto, how does that translate to legal tender for a company like that?
So, in this case, am I investing my crypto into his company, or is he giving me? Okay, so if you're investing crypto, the biggest problem and why there's a lot of money on the sideline right now waiting for regulation is because if I sell my crypto, even if I use it to buy something, it's as if I'm selling it for dollars and giving him the dollars. And that means if I've been holding for a long time, I owe capital gains tax and taxes on what I'm selling. Because nobody is,
you're right.
No government agency has taken responsibility and says, yes, this is a currency, we'll treat it as a currency, or yes, this is a commodity, we'll treat it as a commodity. Nobody knows for sure.
But that's going to, that has to happen. It is so, I mean, let's face it.
Yeah.
I mean, cryptocurrency and the blockchain are so transparent, there's no more need for a Federal Reserve at that point.
Well,
I mean, if you think
is that why
it's got to. I mean,
that's a part of it.
It's got to be here, though. I mean, we must be like right there, don't you think?
Well, there is things like USDC, right? On all of the exchanges, they use USDC, not US dollars, so that they can have a token swap for a token. And USDC is just $1 is actually in a bank for every USDC token. At least that's what they claim.
It's a backed currency.
It's backed. But there's no bank that can show you the same audit that says Wells Fargo has $1 for every dollar you have in the bank. They're way over leveraged. So it's actually way more responsible than the current system.
And I think there's going to be a tipping point where people go, I get it. It's going to happen that fast. We're like, okay, I realize what's happening. We're not just making something out of nothing here. Because in the Seychelles Islands, they trade dolphin teeth for food. I mean, that's their currency. And I think what's interesting here is what you just said was, if I only held stock in my account, no cash, and I did my business by selling stock to buy groceries, selling stock to buy gas, selling stock to invest, then you are saddled with short-term, long-term capital gains. Your cost basis, I mean, it's complicated. So how do we bridge that? There's got to be the next step there. Because look at you guys are crypto investors. How are you going to deal with that value chain?
Well, here's the thing though with stocks. If I did that with stocks, it's one thing. But let's say I hold $1 million worth of Sully Entertainment Group stock, right? And I decide to start a fund, and I want to put that stock in the fund when I start the fund. With Bitcoin, I can't do that because nobody has said that's what this is.
So is that the limiting factor? Is the adoption the limiting factor right now in your mind of a legal currency?
For being a legal currency, yes and no, because there's countries like El Salvador that went, you know what, we don't trust that the U.S. government is doing funny business.
You used that example several years ago, which is actually right. I mean, they used crypto because they didn't trust the dollar or their whatever it's called.
Or they couldn't at least trust the administration to not continue to print money and inflate the dollar. And if that's what they're using in their country, they didn't want to only use that. So now they use Bitcoin as well. They have one of the largest actual reserves of value as any South American country now.
Okay, there's a news story about a girl on social media influencer, the Hawk Tour girl, that just got did she get arrested or something?
No, but she's just.
So can you break that down for us? So what was the situation? Did she start a crypto thing or what?
Yeah, so I didn't do a super deep dive, but here's the high level. She has a name for herself. She marketed a token. I think it was Tua or Hawk Tua, something like that, right? And
a bunch 15 of them.
A bunch of really smart people decided they're going to put lots of money into it. So put $100
because they're riding her influence, right?
They're going, hey, if Dogecoin can go up, they're all speculating.
It was like a meme. Right? It was like a meme.
It was a meme coin. So she launched a meme coin. But really, what I think when it's investigated, what will happen is there's probably some people who also scammed her. I think she probably got paid something because it was one of those things. There's a thing in crypto called pre-mining, right? There's fair launch where it's like, hey, I'm going to throw this on an exchange and then people will buy it and it'll create its own fair value.
Which is crypto's version of an IPO, correct?
Yes. And you can do that in more or less fair ways, right? But if you go, I'm launching a Sully token, but you take 90% of the tokens, you keep them in your back pocket, and then you dump them the second people start buying, that's what happened with that one. Hey. And some people lost a lot of money. And those
dude's got to eat.
Right.
Could she get arrested or have
I mean,
because it's a securities fraud or is it financial fraud? I mean,
if you say out loud that it's going to go up in value, then you broke the law, right?
So on this national TV show, I want to say Mike's reputation is going down in value, just to be clear.
You can't get any lower than mine.
Can I, before you get out of here today, thanks, and we'd love to have you on every week. You're one of my favorite people, as you know. You're a friend, you're a colleague. I've followed your kind of career all along. Draper Goren Blockchain is basically a venture firm in the blockchain crypto area. I mean, you're investing in crypto companies with crypto. Correct?
Sometimes,
or not.
Yeah, usually we spend the dollars. We hold the crypto, right?
Okay.
So, but in general, what we do is we find the earliest stage people building in the space, not people launching meme coins and things like that. We're generally agnostic.
You're talking like payment systems or...
Exactly. Right. Infrastructure, people building tokenized real estate platforms, new types of mortgage companies, new types of infrastructure for this new economy. And the way, I have a slide in the deck that says no one starts an internet company anymore, right? Every company is an internet company now. That's where we're going to be in a few years. Nobody's going to start a blockchain company. Just everyone will use a database that's actually trusted. And that's what we believe. And so we're investing in the earliest stage companies in that space, and we're long, right?
Okay, so and the last question. Do you still believe that blockchain is the most transparent infrastructure to conduct transactions? Because if so, the real estate changes eventually. Car sales change eventually. Anything that has a commission changes because I give you $1, you give me a potato, it's right there. Is that happening, you think? Do you still believe that?
I believe it so much so that we just started a company called Ivory. It stands for AI Valuation of Real Estate. Wow. But it's going to value everything, not because that's on the blockchain, because everything is going to be digital. Right. And if you can't trust and have a timestamp of when a value of something happened, how do you trust?
How will quantum computing affect Bitcoin?
Oh, there's a 50 cent raise.
I'm sorry, you know,
seriously,
that's a whole show.
And how about the Southern Hemisphere? Do you feel worse about yourself when he's here?
I do. I didn't say 4 words.
I love him. He's handsome. He's also.
I'm the dumbest man in the room.
Hey, you know what about the defraculator system?
The flux capacitor.
Thanks, buddy.
I'm Goren. Up half of it.
Draper and Goren blockchain. You can come on anytime you want, pal. Good to see you. Big Biz Show. BigBizShow.com. See you in a minute.
It is the large financial program, also known as the Big Biz Show. Kind of screwed you up there. You're like, wait a second. What channel am I watching?
That's like when I used to do my stock picks on Sunday.
Yeah.
I did my stock picks on Sunday, and then we'd look at how I did. Russ would do his 5 minutes later on Monday. Incidentally, they were very close to my stock pick.
Costa River, Godwin, Greg Todorov, and
70% increase. That's what we do. We need to do pick my shorts again.
Yes.
Thank you. Great show today. Great Wednesday show. Thanks again. Thanks again to Steve Glover. Thanks again to what was our social media guy's name? That guy was fantastic.
Corey
Perlman.
Yep. Yeah, it's good stuff. As we finish the program, let's finish on a low note. It's not because of Patrick DeHaan. Patrick's been with me we've interviewed him for, I'm going to say, Patrick, it's got to be like 15 years you've been on this show. He, of course, is the head of petroleum analysis for Gas Buddy, GasBuddy.com. You ever see that the national map with a gas price temperature map on it?
Regularly.
What were the old colors? We used to be red. Now we're purple. Remember you guys changed the colors on me, Patrick. It used to be red and green, right? Now we're
yeah, you're right. We've made it more accessible. I found that too the hard way. And by the way, I like how we saved the worst news for the end, right on the low point here.
By the way, you look
good news this time.
You look fantastic. Are you getting in shape because you just can't eat because of gas prices, or are you actively
walking everywhere?
You're a shadow of your former self.
High gas prices, right? Is you can hop on the bike or walk. So high gas prices are physically great for me.
That's exactly right. So talk to us. Behind your left shoulder there, we're seeing a country that is purple and orange, but yet over on the West Coast, we continue to be yellow. I'm assuming that because we have so many environmental add-ons to our price per gallon as well as taxes, is that the main reason that we usually have the most expensive gas?
Well, let me get out the rule book for California gasoline. I'll turn to chapter 34. On that page, we're going to find that, yes, gasoline taxes, you have cap and trade, you have a low carbon fuel standard, you have the highest taxes in the nation, you have your own blend of gasoline.
Oh yeah, don't forget, we go into the summer blend here. What is the summer blend, by the way? Is that just a scam?
It's not a scam. It is something implemented after the Clean Air Act amendments in the 70s. The problem between summer and winter gasoline, and by the way, California is a bit of this problem on steroids because in California, the Air Resources Board holds jurisdiction over this. But essentially the big difference here is that winter gasoline has more butane. That starts your car in colder weather easier. Butane, the stuff in lighters, it's real cheap. It's like 50 to 60 cents a gallon. The problem with that is it doesn't cooperate with the air. It evaporates really easily. And in the warmer months, that contributes to ozone. And so summer gasoline has less cheap butane and more alkylate, which is kind of the opposite, not 60 or 70 cents a gallon, but about $5 a gallon. And that's where the cost differential comes from.
Patrick, one of the happiest days of my life occurred about a month ago. I sold our diesel motor car.
I thought diesel was actually...
It was supposed to be, but now, Patrick, assuage my fears. I know Greg Todorov, our executive producer, has a diesel.
Well, to your point, a lot of what happens in California now is biodiesel. So, that's, again, a California regulation is that a certain amount of diesel in California now has to be biodiesel. And actually, this is interesting how this affects gasoline is some refineries in California have gotten incentivized to make the transition from traditional refinery to producing biodiesel. And a lot of what goes into that is then soybean oil. So yeah, there's a huge cost increase associated with making that jump over to biodiesel.
Are you concerned? I don't know if concern is the right word, but we hear about EVs, which is, again, my term for electric vehicles. I would like to know, is EV going to affect the gas price? Because obviously there is a supply-demand issue. If we had the infrastructure to go EV across the country, which we currently don't, but I think we will at some point, will that have an impact from the sheer economic standpoint of Econ 101? Less people are demanding gas, therefore there's fewer dollars chasing more product, which would drive something down in an economic equation. How do you feel about that in the future?
Well, what you're seeing is a lot of growing pains. We're going to see a lot more of those growing pains. You look at the grid, you look at energy consumption, it's already through the roof. The nation badly needs more power plants. Talk about nuclear power, that plant in Georgia that was tens of billions of dollars over budget. We need a lot more of that to have these EV dreams fulfilled. The problem, though, is to your point, though, will it eventually reduce gas prices? Well, oil companies, and this is where politics can get involved. The Biden administration has really taken a very frontline stance on the oil sector, trying to make it more difficult. That's not really the point here. The point is that the oil industry is seeing that the writing is on the wall and that administration is going to push Americans to EVs. So at that point, why spend money maintaining existing infrastructure if the administration is basically saying, well, your time is, we're counting down? So the question is, will EVs be pushed? Yeah. Will oil companies stop investing in their refineries? That's the key. It could be a very bumpy ride.
Patrick DeHaan for president. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate your time as usual. See you next week if we can get to. You know, one thing that people don't realize is that just because the price of oil goes up or down doesn't mean the price of gas goes up or goes down. It's like, think of oil like potatoes and McDonald's French fries, okay? The price of a potato goes up or down. Prices are pretty static on French fries, regardless of what they're paying for potatoes. What drives the cost up or down on French fries is competition. Burger King is now charging less for their French fries. We're going to drop our French fries down. Same thing in the oil and gas business. For oil, just because oil gets more expensive doesn't mean the gas has to get more expensive. Okay, there really is some economy to this. I'm wondering what's going to happen when the EV thing, which I don't think it's going anywhere as long as there's an infrastructure. The problem is, once again, the analogy of Mike Costa after a large bread muffin and a cup of Joe in the morning on the Golden Gate Bridge, wall-to-wall traffic with all EVs. Do we have, because he's heavier at that point, let's face it, and then the car's also 2 tons apiece.
Yeah.
That's a real issue we have to deal with. I mean, one of the main arteries from California to Arizona, which is the 8 freeway, had a bridge collapse about 4 years ago. The main artery to get to Arizona was over for 4 days.
Yeah.
That means commerce, that means goods and services, that means everything else. Well, and that's just from wear and tear. That's just from, you know, bad fiscal planning on both states' part. But I wonder what's going to happen in my mind when there is such a crush of, no pun intended, of EVs that we have to suddenly catch up sooner than later. I think gas prices are going to drop. But aren't we talking a plus-size model?
Aren't the major domestic manufacturers of automobiles just taking a bath on their EV fleets?
For right now, because there's no infrastructure.
Yeah.
Right? How confident do you feel when you drive your EV that you can?
Not very. You have to plan it.
So, right, okay.
Yeah. Now, so if you want to do a road trip.
Cool tool.
Yeah, if you want to do a road trip, you absolutely have to plan it. Yeah, that's true. Here's where I have to stop and do one of the, because they have the superchargers. Yeah. Takes 15 minutes, you plug it in, you run into the grocery store real quick and then come back out and the thing's ready to go. Yeah. But, I mean, I'm a proponent in some ways, but in a lot of ways, we're not there yet.
How much more are they? I don't even know.
30% more.
Really? But then you get a tax break on it?
I think
you get a tax break on a friggin' SUV that's heavy. Come on now.
Hey.
That never made sense. That does it for us. We'll see you tomorrow. Have a great Wednesday night.